We should be all up and going. Welcome on in, everybody, tonight on Tuesday night here on Northwoods TCG. Greatly appreciated to everybody who joins in. Once again, we got two communities tonight. So I've got the TikTok community over here, and I'm also got, of course, the YouTube community as normal. So thank you guys, everybody, for joining here on a Tuesday night. We're going to try and do a little bit more on TikTok as well, just to try and intertwine. I mean, I got 3,000 followers over here on TikTok that I have been, in my opinion, kind of neglecting a little bit, which I get. Hey, Blitzkrieg, how you doing tonight here on YouTube? So tonight we're going to be kind of doing a mixed stream right now. So I've got TikTok going as well. So I'm going to take comments from either one as you guys come on in. Greatly appreciate everybody that's coming on in tonight. And once again, tonight we're going to be talking about the fact that basically Walmart, and not just Walmart, but a lot of different stores are starting to put in more and more limits. And my big question is to anybody out there right now, is this really the solution that is good for the community? Is this actually going to fix the problem? Is this something that we should really be looking at? Is this something that is maybe the wrong direction in the Pokemon TCG? And I'm going to put up some reasons on why it's got some pluses and some minuses here. And I understand that, watching some of the videos, some people are really having a good time with the scalping side of things, which I get. When you sit there and look at it, and we talk about what's going on in the Pokemon TCG and what's happening right now with supply and demand, the real question is we have a lot of ways that we can do things, and there's a lot of things that we can do differently in the Pokemon TCG. There's a lot of things that are currently occurring, and one solution, of course, is put the limits. 5 limit at Walmart. Now a lot of other big box stores. GameStop has had 1 limit for a lot of individuals when it comes down to it. And there's been a lot of different changes when it comes down to what's occurring. So I honestly and personally, I've got 2 sides to it. Number one, I think in some ways it's already, I have not forgotten about you. I am talking about you, Blitzkrieg. Just relax, man. Relax. It's okay. And so the one thing I do want to talk about is when we're sitting in there looking at what's happening with the current market right now. The number one solution, of course, is get more product out there. Pokemon just cannot seem to keep up. They are like pushing sets. They really need to, in my opinion, maybe slow down on the set production a little bit and start to focus more on actually producing product. The problem is a lot of people are convincing or trying to convince that, hey, we're going to be getting reprints. And the fact of the matter is that we probably aren't going to be getting reprints. And I'll tell you why. They can't meet the production quota for just our normal sets. So, for example, Phantasmal Flames. How many people here have not gotten their Pokemon Center Elite or Pokemon Center order? Has not been canceled. Money's been taken. Has not been shipped, which tells me they're still holding on to that and taking their time for sending this product out. And they either A, they don't have all of it yet and they're still getting it in small batches, so they're slowly working through it, or B, they just are that far behind on production in general and they just don't have the staff to get it out. But whichever one it is really causing an issue overall in the market itself. And this is something that's systemically a problem in the Pokemon TCG right now. Personally, I know that they have a regimen, a certain amount of product that they need, certain amount of sets they need to put out, and they definitely need to keep up with that just for the TCG side. But if they were to go, instead of doing 4 sets a year and do 3 sets a year, would there be a benefit to that? Do 3 sets a year and a specialty set? Yes, I think that would be a big benefit to Pokemon TCG right now. Is a big box store having a limit of 5 per packs really, or 5 products per person, really the solution at the end of the day? I honestly don't think so. Personally, there's 2 reasons I'm going to say why not. Number one is that at the end of the day, this country is capitalism. Plain and simple, flat out. To sit there and limit someone because of the fact that they get there first and prevent someone from getting it it's not really exactly the best solution for the problem. Yes, it's a short-term fix. Yes, it's a way to try and keep some product on the shelf. But in general, it's still a capitalistic nation and people are going to work around it. The workaround is already there. It's per visit, it's per transaction. So people are literally just sitting at the register and running 10, 15 transactions. It's really not slowing them down at this point in time. And that's another part of it as well, as you're sitting there looking at it, is what are the limitations of this and how can they get around it? And they already are. Some places you can't. But the other factor is that it also hinders people that are actually trying to purchase packs and purchase decks and purchase these things for actual playability. So, for example, I didn't realize it and I never thought about it. It was something that I really didn't put much thought into it at this point in time. But my friend pointed it out is that we used to go in for the league, go and purchase like 50 packs for the kids because we used to buy them for the kids and then the parents would pay us back. He still continues to do that. I've been doing that as well in the past just to try and help out. And then you take it to the leagues and you take it to places and he gets it and disperses it to kids that may not have the availability. Not all parents have the freedom to be able to go to the store and be able to buy, packs for their kids. Sometimes it is a community driven thing to get in front of the scalpers, get in front of the people taking the packs and getting the opportunity to do it. But now they're also limited to 5 as well. So when the parent gets there early, gets that opportunity to be able to get those packs, gets the opportunity to be able to get them for their community, they don't exactly get the opportunity to do that now because of that fact. So there are some limitation factors. There are some reasons I don't necessarily agree with it. Sleeve blisters, for example, buying 5 sleeve blisters really is worthless. You're really not going to hit any chase cards. For example, myself, we are trying to build decks. You're trying to get that Charizard EX. You're trying to get some of the flame or blow torches or Coriol EX. All those cards are stuff that you need for your Charizard decks if you're trying to buy them. Either A, you're going to go buy the singles eventually, like I just did this week, is go and buy the singles and try and get those signals so you can build that deck. Or B, you try and open as many packs as you can, but getting 5 at a time is really a big limiting factor for being able to do that. So there is that limitation as well. 5 packs isn't even enough to build a deck. You need 60 cards to build a deck. You get 9 per pack, only 5 packs. You're only getting 45 cards. That's not even a deck. But yet, you're going to apply that same thought process to ETBs. So they can go buy 5 ETBs, which now has a ton more packs. So if you're going to do the limitations, I think that they need to work on how they do those limitations. Maybe 2 ETBs and 10 sleeve blisters. I mean, it's a computer system. They can put in whatever data they want in order to be able to do that. So let me know in the chat. Like I said, for people on TikTok, I'm just going to break out of this real quick. If you're on TikTok, typically we do about a 20-minute discussion of an item in the Pokemon TCG. And then when we're done with that, we will kick over and then discuss it. So if anybody's got anything in the comments, make sure you put it in there and we'll come back and kind of touch on them as the live progresses here tonight. But my proponent is it does slow down scalpers. I 100% agree with that. We're getting some really funny videos out there of these surprise scalpers that are going to Costco. They're going to these locations and being told, no, you can't purchase that many. You can only buy 5. And I get it. We have to have some limitations, and I do think that there needs to be limitation and gates in place to try and prevent people from getting into and purchasing everything. But I also think that we need to work on getting the limitations right for the product lines and how they are best working out. So sleeve blisters, of course, should be more packs. Let's be 100% honest. 5 sleeve blisters absolutely means nothing. But if you're talking about 5 ETBs, that's a lot more. And I think it should be more like 2 for ETBs if you're going to do it. But you can't just put the same limitation on everything because some people will still benefit. Scalpers then are just going to focus on Charizard UPCs. They're going to be the number one thing that people are going to go after when they are looking at purchasing into these. That's going to be what they're going to focus on, are the more high-end items that maybe parents and kids are looking for the Christmas time, especially with the holiday season. Those are going to go faster rather than maybe some of the sleeve blisters. Granted, they're going to take them all regardless, but if your parent does get there sooner, or the scalpers get there, there's just, I don't know. To me, I think it's going to work for the short term, but I think by next week, this upcoming Wednesday or tomorrow, typically a lot of MJ holding places start to release products at this point in time, and we're going to get our reloads and our restocks here coming up on Wednesday, Thursday. And I think by that point in time, there's going to be systems in place where people are going to be able to get this product out. And I think that it's going to just kind of work its way through. People are going to work on it. People are going to get it out. They're going to walk out the doors. They're going to have one person just constantly buying, and they're going to do round robin. One person's going to buy, walk out the door. Next guy's going to buy, go out the door. And they're just going to work through it because the way that the statement is, it's per transaction. Even our one Walmart tried to put it per day, and a couple people scalpers already fought that as well. So they already know that the system is 5 per transaction or 5 per visit. So they are working through that already at this point in time. They know the system and they're going to work the system unless you somehow limit credit card transactions to where you're only going to allow a credit card to purchase 1 time per day or 2 or 3 times per day. Like MJ Holding was talking about. Now that system may work where you have like the Pokemon Center booths or the Pokemon Center vending machines where they only allow a card to process once per day. That was the discussion that they were having on that. And this is something that is occurring as well, is that if they go to that system and they limit the amount of transactions per card, that is going to be the solution to the problem, because then a person with a card can only go once per day in any one of the MJ Holding distribution centers. So that's what they were going to do, is it's all intertwined with the computer systems. Overall, I don't think that limiting the product is the solution. I think that it's a short-term band-aid for a problem that we are currently having, and I think that, number one, the market is going to start to fix the problem. Overall, the market is going to be the solution. We're starting to see some softening in this market currently. We're starting to see prices start to retract. We're not seeing the accelerations that we did come about a year ago, even 4 months ago. We're starting to see some retraction on this. Even the Charizard EX is coming down as well a little bit in price, rather than shooting to the moon. And the retractions are happening faster at this point in time. And I think that that's going to be the bigger limiting factor to this hobby, and eventually going to be our salvation. Is the softening of this market is definitely going to be the one thing that's going to start changing the overall aspect. Do I see, and there's people out there right now, they're saying that we'll see MSRP. Destin's Rivals will be under $200. A booster box, do I think that? I don't think so. I think we're going to continue to see these soft reprints at this point in time, where basically we're going to see small amounts of product continue to come out of each one of these sets. Destin's Rivals is probably going to get another booster box reprints. We're going to be seeing these little trickle outs, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really drive that down. I was watching Dan at Catch 'em All Collectibles once again. I think his take is right on, but I also don't think that I would be expecting to see under $200 for any of the Scarlet and Violet booster boxes. And the reason being is they can't keep up with current sets. They can't keep up with Phantasmal Flames. They couldn't get Mega Evolutions 1 out. So why, in anybody's right mind, do you think that they're going to be taking the time and going back and reprinting, let's just say, going back to Surging Sparks again? Why are they going to print a large quantity of that particular set when they can't print Phantasmal Flames and get it out the door in time? We're having delays, and constant delays right now on the English side of the Pokemon TCG. So why do people think that they're going to spend time printing old sets when they can't make and print the current sets? It doesn't make sense. And from a company aspect and for the TCG aspect, for the playability side of the sets, it really doesn't make sense for them to go and put a lot of time and energy into the older sets when they have new sets that are in demand right now that they need the product for, and they can't make the volumes for that either. They're splitting them up. ETBs, some places got ETBs of Phantasmal Flames. Mine got delayed. Same thing happened with Mega, right? We had Mega split into 2 distribution levels. We got the first wave, we got the second wave. So same thing with Phantasmal Flames. We got the first day where I just got sleeve blisters. That's all that they sent me on the first day or first week of release. Now this week I got my manifest. I should be getting ETBs on my manifest. I should be getting 3-pack blisters, and I should be getting the rest of the products that I was looking at. So overall, we're seeing little holes all over the place, little distribution holes, little slowdown on the printing. All of these things are continuing to occur. So if that's happening, why would they go back and reprint the specific sets, like go all the way back and start printing Twilight Masquerade? It just doesn't make sense. And that's the situation we're going into. So are they ever going to print enough Destin's Rivals at this point in time without being able to make the money or make the spots on the current sets and hit the marks for those? Are they going to print enough Destin's Rivals booster boxes to really affect this market? That's the real question you have to ask. I don't think so. I don't think that that's going to occur. And I think that we might see, could I see 250 Destin's Rivals booster boxes if we got a reprint? I think it's possible. Do I see sub 200 boxes of Destin's Rivals? No, I don't see that happening at this point in time. Do I see sub 200 Journey Together? No, I don't think so. I think a lot of the booster boxes, I don't see very many sub anything when it comes down to those particular boxes. I think it's going to take a large amount of reprint to do that. And right now, Pokemon in general just does not seem to have the capacity to do that. They don't seem to have the ability to pull that off. And that's the real catch to what's happening right now in this market, and why even a softening, we're not going to see that crash. We're not going to see that complete devastating crash right now, because even though we are seeing a softening in the market and we're seeing a little bit less money flowing and we're seeing a little bit of the price reductions in some of the Sword and Shield booster boxes and some of the Scarlet and Violet booster boxes, we're seeing that softening in the market. I think that's all it's going to end up being, is a softening rather than a full-blown like 2021 retraction and dive in this market. I think overall we have the people in the hobby that are going to continue to push it, and as long as we don't get monster reprints, and as long as the hobby and Pokemon can't keep up with the current prints of these sets, I really don't think that this is going to be a problem. And now someone said, and I don't know, can someone maybe out there in one of the lives let me know? Someone said that there was a large dumping of 151 products. Now, I have not seen any 151 products in Wisconsin. I haven't seen anybody I know in this area having any 151 products showing up. But someone said that there's a big dumping of it. I haven't seen it, but if it did, right now would be the last hurrah for 151. We're at 2-year mark right now, and with it being at the 2-year mark, this would be the time. This would be exactly when I would expect to see a large dumping of some 151 products, whether it's ETBs, collection boxes, mini tins. Right now is a time in the market when we would typically see that occur, is usually right at the 2-year mark. At Sam's Club, I heard this. The mini tins. I heard the mini tins. It's weird to me that they kept printing mini tins too. Mini tins seem to be the one thing that just doesn't make sense. But I did hear, you're right, I forgot about the mini tins. So there are going to be mini tins dropped at Sam's Club, I believe tonight at 10 p.m. Central Time. So in about another 40 minutes, there'll be a drop of mini tins. I'm not going after it just because of the bots, and how many there are, I have no idea. But some people on like TikTok and some YouTubes, some shorts I've been seeing are people just saying, oh, massive amount. 151 isn't safe from reprints. All sets are still, and it's like, it isn't huge. We're not getting it through distribution. So if we're not getting it through distribution and it's coming through a big box store such as Sam's Club, that's not really a flush of product. That's not a lot of product. Yeah, it seems like a lot. People in their head, when you say 100,000 ETBs, you in your head think that's a lot of product. You know, in your mind, if you go to Sam's Club right now and someone's in the back door and there's like 60,000 of these mini tin boxes that are available at Sam's Club, in people's mind, that's a lot of product. You have probably 3 to 4 million people looking for that product in the United States alone. So when you're looking at 60,000 to 100,000 products for 4 million people, that's nothing. And bots are buying probably 40 to 50% of it. So once again, it's all relative. 100,000 ETBs is not a lot of ETBs. 100,000 cases of mini tins is not a lot of mini tins. That's just not a lot of packs. That's not a lot of influx into the market. Is that going to affect the prices of 151? Is that going to really make a manipulation on that price to drive it down from the Pokemon Center or from Pokemon International? No, it's not going to be enough to do that. It's just going to be a drop in the bucket to where the market's going to freak out for a minute. The price is going to drop for a couple days, and the market's going to go, oh, there isn't that many out there. And then it's going to go right back, like we've seen several times, from Surging Sparks to going all the way through Journey Together. All of it does this exact same thing. So there's this thought process that it's going to, that 100,000 of something is going to be enough in the Pokemon TCG. And it would have been 2019, 2018, that would have been a huge number for those particular time periods, but not so much for the current situation that we're in. Since 2019 and the growth that we've seen in the Pokemon TCG, you know, people complain about 8, 9, 10, 11 billion cards being printed, but realistically, the amount of people in the Pokemon TCG is just absolutely exploded in the last 4 years. Since 2019, especially since 2020, even moving forward through the Scarlet and Violet era. The numbers have gone way up, and this consistent high market is really helping that. A low market might clean on some of them out. Then it might be a different point at that point, different way of looking at it at that point. But currently, 100,000, you know, I heard that the mini tins are supposed to be 100,000 or 60,000 to 100,000. I've heard both numbers rolling around on X. So whether it's 100 or 60, I don't know, but it's somewhere in that train of numbers. But is that enough? Is that enough to really make a detriment to the market? Is that really enough to really change the overall direction or pricing of anything in the Pokemon TCG? I personally don't think so. I don't think that that's going to be enough to do it. You're going to need to see millions and millions to do that. So, for example, ETBs, how many 151 ETBs would you think at this point in time in order to bring the price of of this ETB, how much do you think you'd have to print in order to bring that price down at this point in time? It's probably one of the most popular sets in the Scarlet and Violet era, right behind Destin's Rivals and Prismatic Evolutions. And personally, Prismatic Evolutions is more hype. It's more hype and FOMO. This set is actually good. People want this set. And that's the factor that people need to think about. So 151 is definitely one of those things that I would say is probably the set you would have to have so much of this to reprint in order to see that value go up or see that value come down at this point in time. You might, to even bring it close to MSRP at this point in time on the secondary market. If this hit the shelf today and 1 million of these ETBs hit the shelf today, even 2 million, how fast do you think the price would go down? How far do you think it would drop? Number one, in the comments, let me know. And number two, do you think that it would be a long-term drop? I honestly think that you would see probably a 15% drop in market value initially. I think that drop would last for approximately 3 months. I think in 3 months, you'd be right back to where you were. I think it would be a short-term hit. Anybody that purchased it at market highs at this point in time would probably feel it. But I think at this point in time, most people have not purchased that at market highs either. The fact is that the sales of 151 ETBs has been down just because of the fact, more than anything, that it's so expensive at this point in time. And you've priced out enough people in this market that it doesn't really affect that many people for buying it at that high point. Now, there are sales at the high point, but in general, it's down, the number of high sales. So from $400, right now, that ETB is $400 that I was just holding. For that thing to drop, even if it dropped 10%, it dropped down 10%, it'd be $120. So it'd go from $400 down to $380 right now in order to do that. Is that going to be a long-term drop? Mini Tins is another perfect example as well. And I think you'd see the panic dump. You'd see the panic drop. Everybody would freak out at first. And then you would see the correction pretty fast because people would have remorse and people would try and buy it at MSRP. You'd see the shelves cleaned out at MSRP in a matter of hours. I don't think it would sit very long for more than a couple hours. And that market's going to correct. And I don't know right now if Pokemon is even would ever consider printing that much of anything in 151. I don't think that they can. Once again, if they can't print current sets, why would they print older sets? We have a TCG, they have a play format, they have to get these cards out, and the schedule that they've set themselves has seemed to become unrealistic for their expectations of being in printing. Number one, the increase in demand is a factor, but number two, the other factor of it is, of course, is that they just don't seem to have enough output to be able to keep up with it. Oh, I'm almost sold out of 151 Tins. 151 sure sells well. It does. 151 is probably my favorite set right now to open just because it's nostalgic, number one. The only thing I wish that they would have done, and this would be my one suggestion for Pokemon 151, is they would have done black and white. If they would have done Black Bolt, White Flare style, where all of the starter or all of the 151 got a Pokemon card, that would have been absolutely wild. I'm game for that, iFOMO. DJ Poke Center, I'm absolutely game to do a live. Maybe we can set that up. I'll get a hold of you. I'd be down. It'd be fun. I think it'd be a good conversation. So maybe we can set that up. Maybe next week we'll try and do a live if we get time, or if we can set it up together. So absolutely, perfect. I'm trying to get the key so I can actually do TikTok off of my Streamlabs. So if I can do that, that'd be really awesome because then we could stream to TikTok and to YouTube at the same time. Oh, I'm sure we could probably talk a really long time about it. And I think from what I've seen, DJ is pretty close to my mindset, but I think we would have some discussion on some of the things. So I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a good, really good down-to-earth discussion about what's going on in the Pokemon TCG. So overall, I think that we are definitely in a softening market, and we've talked about it. Are we in a crash? No. Crash is not the right term for what we are currently in this market. I think currently that we are having a little bit of a softening. There's not enough product to cause a crash. We're not getting the supply that we necessarily need in order to see that crash like we did in 2021. We're not seeing print to order on like 4 or 5 sets that are going to cause that to occur. We saw that happen in 2021. Pokemon pulled out all the guns, every cannon, fired every cannon that they had, and basically just deluged the market with so much product at one point in time that it just killed it. I mean, it absolutely just killed the market, like hit the brakes. It was like instant stop, and it took a while to get that train going again. And that train took a little bit, and it did. I mean, it did get going, and it always stayed pretty consistent through the end of the Sword and Shield era. We saw very good consistency when it came down to the overall performance in the sets. The Trainer Gallery sets all did really well. Astral Radiance, a little weak. Pokemon Go, of course, is Pokemon Go. Just not as strong as what we had with the other 4 sets that were around it. But in general, Pokemon continued to move forward. Scarlet and Violet, everything changed. We went into a new era of Pokemon and a new starter set, a new era, and it really changed the overall feel of it. We got all these illustrated rares. Secret illustrated rares became a factor, and they changed the format in which things were put out, and it actually made things change a little bit. And it caused a little bit of a slowdown again, and that's what happens typically. And we're going to see that at Generation 10. When we get to Gen 10, when we cross the next generation, we will probably see some major changes, which is going to change. Mega is not a generation change. A lot of people think that it's a generational change right now. It is not. Gen 10 is already scheduled for the end of 2026. We have a breakdown roughly of what we've got coming. We know that we're going to get the remaining 4, or I think there's actually going to be 4 more sets yet of Mega coming. And then there's going to be 2 or 3 specialty sets in there. And once we get through that, then we'll be going to Gen 10. So Gen 10 is coming. It's just not here yet. We're getting some pre-feel for it. We're starting to get some information about it at this point in time, which is pretty normal. Being about a year out is when we start getting a feel for what the time frame is. Starters will probably be announced in the next 6 months. We're going to know the new starters for Gen 10, and we're going to go into something new. They're running ZA right now, so we're running the Mega Set. The Mega Set will change. Everything will adjust. Things will become different here coming in another year, maybe a little over a year, as we work through the next 4 sets. So just so you guys know, it's going to change, and the change is going to happen. But just to go into conclusion for what I was saying earlier, do I think that the 5 limit, putting limitations on retail, is the solution for the Pokemon TCG? Do I think that that is going to be what the thing is that's going to change the overall market? No. I think there's going to be too many workarounds. I think people are going to get by with it. I think that it's going to actually hinder some of the people, and maybe it will help because it's going to drive more people out that are actually wanting to be in it. Rather than scalpers, I think it's going to hurt more of the individuals that are honest. And that was something that we talked about a little bit, and I talked to my friend about it with Phantasmal Flames release, and he did not get any because, well, he got 5 packs, but when he was buying like 50 to 70 packs for the Pokemon League and for the kids he knew, he's not doing that now because of the fact that he can't get them through Walmart because he's off during the middle of the day, and he had the opportunity to go grab them and sometimes beat the scalpers. So he kind of knew what time MJ Holding would come, and he'd beat the scalpers. Now, he wasn't clearing shelves. I mean, that's the other factor as well, is you're not clearing shelves. None of these people that I'm talking about clear shelves. They just take enough in order to be able to either A, open it with them and their kids, or B, supply other kids because their parents are in 9-to-5 jobs, and they just can't go during restock time in the middle of the day in order to be able to get that product. And so they were using it as a system, as one person would go buy all these packs, and they would divvy them up between 5 or 6 kids. So the kids got a good grouping of packs. They got a good opportunity to open and have some fun and potentially get some of the cards they need for their decks. These are all kids that were playing and are actively playing in the Pokemon TCG. So that became a bit of a detriment to the hobby in general as well. That was one of the issues that I don't think that that's good for, but it's going to keep product on the shelf. It's going to slow down the amount of bleeding that's going out of the product or out of the shelves. It's definitely going to change that aspect and make things move a little slower. But once again, it's going to take 1 week, 2 weeks. The scalpers are going to find a system. As long as the card pricing is high and the market values continue to stay at the values that they are currently, like now, Phantasmal Flames, I'm just going to look real quick. Just so I like, once again, if I like looking up the numbers as I'm talking, just to make sure that I give you the right numbers. So Phantasmal Flames sleeve blisters right now are actually about $6.50 with $1.99 when shipping. So you're looking at about $7.50 right now, $8 per pack, which is actually a big drop, but not surprising on Phantasmal Flames. But realistically, it's another one of them things. As long as packs, and there's actually not many of them, we're going to be at $8.50 again. So $8.50 with shipping. So that's exactly what we are right now with the one. It's kind of just sneaking it in there. But you're going to have the same situation. As long as packs are $3.50 over MSRP, scalpers are going to continue to work the system, right? They're going to continue to try and get it through that system to try and feed that need. And there's not much you're going to do about it. The only solution to that is get more product, and Pokemon's got to print more product. Take a break on a set if they need to. Slow it down. I mean, if you postpone one set an extra month or an extra 2 months, whatever you need, in order for Pokemon to be able to increase that print rate and be able to, instead of giving us what they've given us on Mega and Phantasmal Flames, give us that extra 25% or extra 30% onto that set so that we can basically get a larger print originally, and that is what's going to drive that market and actually split that up. And that's the biggest issue that's going to, that no matter what you do, it's never going to help. You can put any restrictions, any gates you want up. You can try and slow down the bleeding as much as you can. But as long as the product and the pricing continues to go up on the secondary market and it's holding a value, scalpers are going to scalp. And we could sit there and say scalpers, no scalping, all you want. They are going to find ways around the system. And it's just, you're throwing up gates, and it's like if you have cattle, you know this analogy. You can put any kind of fence and gate up you want, but I hate to say it, the grass is always greener on the other side, and the animal's going to find a way to get through it. It's just a matter of time, and you need to figure out how to either fix it or give them a reason to stay in the fence. And right now, we have no reason for them to stay in the fence, and that is going to be the bigger issue, is that once we find a way to keep them in the fence, then they kind of disappear. They get quiet, and they disappear until the next drop. So, once again, TikTok, if you guys are still there, put comments out there. We are going to go into the comment section of our live as soon as my other camera stops freezing, whatever it's doing. But yeah, typically in the live, I went a little bit long. It was kind of fun. Had a really good discussion on that. I had a good train of thought. I had things going through my head. And this is what I do a lot of times is I call the rant portion where we just sit here and talk. I'm kind of explaining because guys on TikTok or YouTube, we do have TikTok running down below as well. I got about 3,000 people on TikTok. So I figured it was a good way to kind of combine them where we could have discussions on both ends if anybody has any comments, and definitely do that. But if you want to, come join us on YouTube. There's also a big discussion board on that as well. All right, so here we go. We got Blitzkrieg in the chat. Thank you so much for jumping in. We had a lot of people rolling through TikTok, but right now I see there's a couple, so thank you guys for watching over here as well. iFOMO, thank you so much for being in here on YouTube. Lucky K, thank you so much for being in here as well. Glad to have you. Jacob in the house. DJ Poke Center, thank you so much for being in here tonight. Roxberry's in here as well, along with Burr. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining in. I think I got everybody on the list so far, but I'm sure some more will still come on in. Blitzkrieg, yeah, I'm not neglecting you. Trust me, I could not neglect you, Blitzkrieg, in a million years. You're just that special and precious to me, man. Welcome in, iFOMO. Thank you so much for the fire on that one. Let's see. Don't neglect me, iFOMO. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to be like personal greeting cards to every one of you guys. So, but thank you so much, everybody, for being in here. I already forgot about us. 2 sets a year, LOL. 2 sets might be a little low. You got to remember, we got to keep the TCG moving, and you got to keep the playability moving and keep things rolling. So I would say if they even went down to 3, or if they were to spread it out where they were actually more distance between them, at least for a couple sets so they could get caught up, I think that would be the best solution that they could do right now at this point in time. So it's just a matter of them getting caught up and getting the opportunity to catch up and finding a way to do that. That's their issue right now. And it's definitely something that they need to work on currently when it comes down to what's happening in the Pokemon TCG. We're going to drop on here. Lucky says, it wouldn't surprise if less than 1% of Pokemon sold in the United States is going to people that actually play the game. It's probably not. It's probably higher than 1%. I would probably say people that are playing the game, though, are usually buying from TCG player, like myself. I don't try and pull it very often, but I am purchasing the cards I need off a TCG player pretty consistently. I just bought all the cards I need for my Charizard deck. I pulled some of the bulk that we got here for another kid too that's building a Charizard deck. But realistically, most of the time it is going to collectors, it is going to investors right now in the current market, and it's going and the problem is the scalpers are really starting to suck that up as well. So there's going to be the investment side, and the collector side is your two biggest parts of the market. Playing side is there, and there are quite a few players that buy quite a bit of product, and it depends on how deep and entrenched they are in the Pokemon TCG. That's going to be the factor to how much they're actually purchasing and how much of it is actually going to that market at this point in time. So I think 1% might be a little bit low. I would say probably out of all the product out there right now, maybe around 8 to 10% would probably be going. Maybe a little bit higher than 10% is going to actual people building decks and building actual playability. There's a lot of players out there. I don't think a lot of people realize that. How many players are actually in the Pokemon TCG? There, even in my little shops in my little area, there are at least 20 to 30 people that come and play pretty consistently. And this is a small area. I mean, you're talking out of 8,000 people, probably 30 people play the Pokemon TCG and are actually actively building decks and involved. If I go to Rice Lake, it's even higher. If I go to Eau Claire, it's even higher. So there are a lot of people actually playing and actually involved in building decks and actually being part of the playability. And I encourage anybody, if you want to understand the Pokemon TCG, if you want to understand why they print and how they set things up in the actual sets, play a pre-release tournament. A pre-release tournament is a great way to do that, and it really gives you a good feel for what's happening with a lot of the products and why they produce cards the way they do and what the cards mean and why they're designed the way that they are. So it's a lot of fun. It's a way to get into an even playing field and have some fun, but definitely pre-releases are great. You don't have to build a deck. You can just go and buy a deck. It comes pre-made. It's $25 and it's a fun time. Nobody knows what's going on, and we all are making it up as we go. Even the best of us are sitting there making this up as we go. Let's see. Blitzkrieg says, I sold a box at retail price to a lady I met at Hobby Lobby. She was mentioning how she wanted to get her nephew. So I was like, hey, I got a damaged Victini box and I sold it to her. That's awesome. I mean, that's things in the hobby that are really good. And I do that as well. I get stuff even at distribution, and I'll sell it even under MSRP for like our Pokemon League when I get enough. Lately, I haven't been getting enough from distribution. I basically almost got to sell everything I get in order. I mean, if I get 144, like a whole case, like Mega 1, we actually went through and gave some to our Pokemon League players. But like ME2 now, I only got 72 sleeve blisters, so I got half, or 80. I think it was like 80 sleeve blisters. So I got half of my order again, and with that happening, it's really hard because there is a bottom line that I have to maintain as well. So I can't really just go and sell all the product when I'm getting such small product at this point in time. But before, we used to just as parents go together and buy a case. I'd get it from distribution. The parents would just all buy a case from distribution. We'd split it up between the kids. That was a great way to do it. And I would love to get back to that point again where I'm able to get a case of sleeve blisters from distribution, drop it on the table at our Poke League and just have at it. And it's always fun to do that. Every kid gets so many packs and we just have a fun time. Let's see here. Just going down the thing. After the initial release, distributors have been raising prices. Yes, they have. So usually like now the first two orders are going to be pretty close to normal. So like $112 a booster box for the two booster boxes. I was getting my sleeves were actually they're still high. They're running about $3.90, $3.95 a pack right now. So almost $4 a pack right now for the sleeve blisters when I get them from distribution. They were about $2.85 prior to this craziness. ETBs were about $32 right now. They're about $36, but I only get 10, so I don't get very many of those as well. And so the prices are a little bit higher on first release, but now when I get offers or they call me up and want to go for second release, they're going to charge me, MSRP basically for all of them. I'm going to be buying ETBs at around $60 or $55. I'm going to be buying these sleeve blisters at around almost $4.75 a piece at that point in time, $5 or right around between $4.75 and $5. Booster boxes are going to charge me probably $200. Surging Sparks, when that came out with a reprint, they basically they sold them to me for $190. So yeah, there's enough market share in it for me to be able to do something with that, but definitely nowhere near the 112 that I normally pay on the first release. So yes, you're absolutely right. Distribution is upcharging up and beyond MSRP for some of the products when it comes down to the second release. But talking to the distributor, like Danny Phantom talked about, if you do follow Danny Phantom, make sure you guys, if you don't, make sure you do on YouTube, like he discussed. He talked to his distribution, I talked to mine. They're getting upcharged too. There's no contracted price from Pokemon for what they get charged for the product to them. So when they get the second product releases from Pokemon International charges them more, they charge us more, and it just goes right down the line. So we need to get to the point where distribution has product sitting in the shelf. And I don't think distribution wants that. Talking to my buddy and my friend that works at ACD, distribution doesn't want this stuff sitting around the warehouse anymore. So I think part of it is too, distribution heads up are kind of pushing against it as well. Hey, Pika Pika, how you doing? So there's a lot of cogs and a lot of things happening right now that are maybe good, maybe bad in what's occurring. It's just a matter of how do we mitigate this and keep things rocking and rolling, and hopefully things shift. The softening in the market, I think, is going to help. I think we're going to see some change here in the next couple sets, but the next set might be very good. So that's going to be a factor as well, being the Gengar set and all that. We are probably going to get a Dragon set here or Rayquaza set here in the near future as well. So that is definitely going to be a factor as well for how far this falls. Phantasmal Flames is definitely going to be a little bit of a different beast because of the fact that it has a lack of SIRs in it. Even compared to ME1, it has half as many SIRs in this set right now. You're only talking 4 SIRs, and you're pulling roughly 1 to 2 SIRs per case. Someone was saying, oh, it's harder to pull because it's only one, you're only pulling 1 to 2 SIRs per case. But when you only got 4, that means every 2 cases you're pulling a Charizard. So it adds up pretty quick. And I've seen a lot of places pulling that Charizard. The fact that it's still holding at about $700 is pretty impressive right now. I don't know if it's still $700. Last time I looked, I haven't looked since Sunday when we were live. But Sunday was about $700. What is it today? Well, let's just look at pricing as of today. $780, or still about $750 currently. It's actually gone up again. So yeah, I mean, next one listed right now is $690. So $700 is pretty consistent. I'm just going down the list. Near mints, $690, $690, $695, $600, or $700, $700, $700, $714, $715. So we're sitting right around that $700 mark. So still, that card really hasn't changed much since the release of the set, which in a way is kind of surprising. I thought that we would see a little bit more retract on that, considering it's not easy. It's not Obsidian Flames easy, like every other booster box you're pulling an Obsidian Flames Charizard, but it's not hard because there aren't as many SIRs, even though the hit rate of the SIRs, the pull rates right now. So if I pull open, I looked at it earlier today, and I'm going to pull it open just so, once again, I want to be the numbers to be correct on here. So if anybody comes back and references this, at least we know that everything is right. So we're going to pull up on TCG's hit rate. So you can always look these up yourself on TCG Player. Always puts out the hit rates for the Pokemon sets. So if we look up Phantasmal Flame, so we can look up what TCG Player is putting up for the hit rates right now. So let me pull it open. So right here. So here's the pull rates for the Phantasmal Flames. So the Mega Hyper Rare, the Gold Charizard right now is going to be 1 in 1,260. So that's the big dog. That's the hard one to hit. The SIR right now is 1 in 400. 1 in every 80 is going to get an SIR. If you're looking for a specific Charizard, it's 1 in 400. If you're looking at illustration rares, they're a 1 in 9 or a 1 in 118 for the hit rates on those. If you're looking for an ultra rare, it's a 1 in 12. So ultra rares are actually harder to hit than your illustration rares, but they're a 1 in 212 for a specific. And if you're looking for a double rare, your EXs, just your standard EXs, are 1 in 5. or 1 in 48 for a specific one. So if you're shooting for a specific one, that's what you're looking for the hit rates. Secret rare hit rates, chances of opening at least one, yeah, blah, blah, 19%. So basically you're at a 1 in 400. So every 400 packs roughly you're pulling the Charizard. Now that's nowhere. So the Obsidian Flames one was 1 in 210. So it's double Obsidian Flames, which is good. We needed it to be a little bit harder than Obsidian Flames. The short one, a light one like Obsidian Flames was going to be a problem. We needed to have something heavier hitting than that. But still, when you only have 4 SIRs, a 1 in 400 is not very much in the terms of hit rates for a card, which is where we're seeing a lot of hits on this card. We even hit it. Roy here on our channel on our live on Friday on release day, 6-pack in, bam. We hit it. You know, we hit the Charizard right off the bat. So congratulations to Roy on that. I've been like a really good at getting Roy those big hits. But overall, when you have that few of SIRs, the hit rate, the chances of hitting it go up pretty good. And I think 1 in 400 is probably pretty light. Let's see, how many packs did they do? That was 5,000 packs. So that was a 5,000 pack study. Once again, it's 5,000 packs enough. I think it gives you a pretty good feel. But I think it might be even better than that by the time it's all said and done. All right. So we're going to go down to the next question now. Let's move on. Otherwise, I'm going to sit on some of these all day. Yeah, they keep going with those high prices as the norm after release. Yeah, we already talked about that. I noticed the Mega Charizard UPC is squeaking. UPCs have squeaking fat per to normal. How much like... Crown Zenith will they flood the market? Well, we've already gotten double of the Charizard one, so we're at 3 million of them have been. The number that's been put out there is 3 million. So there's 3 million of the Charizard X UPCs, supposedly printed. That's a lot. 1.9 was the original Charizard, so the Charizard X is already over 1.1 million. So that is an increase of about 40%, 38% increase on the production of that. And that's if they don't go for another round of it as well. If they go for another round of that particular UPC, we could be seeing a lot larger number as well. Does it make sense that it's so high? I don't know. I once again, when you get that much and you go comparisons, the Charizard UPC was down to like $70, and you're not as many. Granted, I get it that this thing is. I'm looking it up right now. What's the current market now? It's been released a little bit. So Charizard UP Ultra. Let me just put it in here. Ultra. Once again, I try and get you the right numbers on this thing. Ultra Premium. Where is it? Ultra Premium Collection. There it is. Found it. So it's $200 right now, which did come down. I mean, the one they were at like almost $400 at one point. I was thinking it'd come down to around. My guess is that if I was going to pick a number that it was going to drop to, I was thinking under sub 200. I was thinking probably down to about 175. I don't know if we'll see this go lower than that, just because of the fact that there's so many people in this hobby compared to the Charizard UPC. The Charizard UPC was left in a position, or put out in a position, where the hobby was a little cooler. Now in a hotter market right now, I think 175. If you saw 150, I'd probably buy them at this point in time. But I don't think we'll see this go sub MSRP at any point in time when it comes down to the Charizard X. Pika Pika asked, might have missed it earlier, but did you pull the Phantasmal Mega Charizard X yet? Yes. We pulled that on Friday right away. 6-pack in, we pulled that out of the sleeve blisters. So Roy nailed that one right off the bat. 6 packs in, we got that one all pulled out already. So awesome, fun. It was a fun time. So we got that already mailed out to Roy as well. So really awesome getting that. Jacob actually pulled it, which is even better. My son was live with me on Friday. He was opening packs it was actually opening the packs. So Roy ordered 6. It was a 6-pack in, and bam, we nailed it right off the bat. So Jacob was pretty excited too. He ran up after he leaves about 10 o'clock, and we go until about 11. But he ran up and instantly was telling his mom about pulling it. So he was pretty excited. Cool card. I love the card. I think it's a very good card. In terms of Charizards, it's probably my favorite one in a long time. I honestly can't think of one that I would honestly say is better in recent times. If we're going into modern artworks, it's definitely really, really good. I like the fact they got the Charmander, the Charmeleon, Charizard, and all of them kind of built in there into the card. Overall, fantastic artwork, really, really good card. I want it for my own collection, so I'm gonna have to decide whether or not I want to chase it or if I want to actually sit there and just purchase it. So I might wait to see how low the market goes and buy it for my own collection, just because I don't feel like opening that many opening packs to try and get it. I usually just buy what I want rather than trying to hit it. I'm not lucky like some individuals that come into my life, to say the least. Let's see. We're down here. Packs compared. My FOMO at Sam's Club. Yep, went through that. Pikachu Hot Cocoa mugs confirmed. I did see that. That's pretty cool. I'm banking on they have opened some printing facilities and they are now printing the UPC and other non-ETB and BBs. I don't know. I think that they're working with another print facility. I do think that. Phantasmal Flames and Mega have both had a different feel, better quality, better cards. Overall, they feel better, if that makes sense. I just don't think that they are. I still think they're pushing too hard. They're pushing too hard too fast, and they can't keep up. And then with that being said, they're not going to go back either. They're not going to go and chase older sets when the other sets are still weak and when they're still can't keep up. So I'm going to move this a little bit over here. Boom, there we go. Okay. But yeah, that's basically what we're seeing right now on that factor is that I think that they've opened up another at least one more print facility. I just don't know how much they're printing and if they're going to take on a bunch of sets, if they're going to just do one and split with Millennial Print Group. Is Millennial Print Group maybe printing something else heavier? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing because we really haven't seen a volume increase. We've seen small spurts of older sets get reprinted, but realistically, we haven't seen a big increase in the amount of volume of product coming out. It comes out in spurts. Sometimes we get a large amount, like Twilight Masquerade ETBs all of a sudden showed up in mass. We got Surging Sparks 6-pack bundles came out in mass. We saw some Paldean Fates 6-pack bundles come out in mass and tins. But realistically, we haven't seen that overall overwhelming amount of product hit the shelves, like I would expect if they brought on multiple print companies at this point in time. I hope they do. I hope they get more going. But I think they're also being a little bit cautious about it as well. Pokemon's not dumb. They know that this market can't hold forever, and I think that they're seeing the softening as well, which is where they're being optimistically cautious that this market's going to correct on its own and slow down, but I think they're being maybe a little bit too optimistic that that's going to occur at this point in time. So let's see here. We've got next question is from Jacob. Pokemon knows what's on the horizon. I don't they'll need to expand printing. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was just saying. I think that they're being cautiously optimistic right now in this market. They don't want to push too fast, too hard. They want to make sure that they are increasing enough to where they don't bury the distributors and bury the market. Especially with the 30th anniversary coming up in the not too distant future, they're definitely not going to want to push it too far, too fast, where they soften the market too much to cause a crash. They want to be sure that the 30th anniversary has hype and FOMO. They want that to be good. They did the same thing in 2021. If everybody remembers, they literally flooded the market right after Celebration. So we got everything like right there after Celebration. So it's like they backed up and they pushed everything back. They loaded up the gun for the end of, Celebration. Celebrations hit, part 1, part 2 hit, and everything flooded at the same time. So they definitely seem to have set that up. Could they do that again? Yeah, they could be loading up to do that right now. We don't know for sure. It's just going to depend on what happens. Jacob says, I think it depends on how many people panic and dump on the secondary market. That's the biggest thing. I almost sold out of 151 tins. 151 sure sells well. It does. I love 151. Everybody has fun with 151. I really love that set in general. I like opening it. I love ripping it for people. It's a fun set. I really do enjoy it. My favorite product is the 6-pack bundles, just because it seems like every 6-pack bundle has a good hit inside of it, which makes it a lot of fun. The collection boxes are also a lot of fun as well. So if you're looking for a fun product to open in 151, the collection boxes are great. The 6-pack booster bundles are great as well. I've had really good success in both of those. Let's see. Already went through that. We'll be in touch, DJ, on that one. You two, yep, got that. Let's talk. Tell that to the scalpers. We already talked about that. Welcome to the dark side. Roxy Broxy says they shipped all my Pokemon Center orders today. I put a ticket in this morning. Not sure if that helped or what. Thank God. Yeah, mine is not shipped yet. They pulled my money last week on Friday. They pulled my money, and I still don't have a shipping confirmation. It says in process, so that's a good thing. They haven't canceled my order or anything like that, but I still don't have it in the mail yet either. I'm hoping in the next couple of days I'll be seeing something. Hopefully I'll be getting it here in the near future. So mine also just shipped today. Yeah, I haven't seen mine ship yet. I guess I haven't looked this afternoon, but as of this morning, it had not shipped yet. So hopefully it'll ship I'm guessing I'll probably ship in the next day. Still waiting to get mine shipping info. Jacob's in the same boat as me. Mine came in like 2 days after shipping. Yeah, it usually is 2-day shipping. So if Pokemon Center, once they ship, it's usually about 2 days, and then it's at my door. So that it is, once I get the shipping information, it'll happen very, very quickly. But yeah, Phantasmal Flames right now is an absolute mess at this point in time. I figure out what's going on here. This ain't working. Why is this not working? Huh. My chat's frozen. Let's see if we do this. Refresh. There it is. We're back. Yeah, my chat got frozen. Once again, TikTok, if you guys got any questions or any comments, I know there's been a few people watching. Make sure you put them in there as well. I want to get you guys hit up as well. If you got anything questions about the Pokemon market, make sure you throw them into the chat. We're getting right down to the end right now, but we usually go about 10-15 minutes over. I know my wife sits there and goes, why do you tell me an hour and you come up like an hour and a half later? Well, because we get good conversations and we just keep going. Let's see here. Red Battalion and Black Bolt sells well if you got extras. It's a common card. I'll have to take a look. I think I got a bunch of them. I'm actually starting to load up again. I don't know. I got to go through my bulk at some point in time. I want to start loading up my TCG player again, but I just haven't had the time to really go through and sort my bulk. So eventually, some point in time, I might go through that after the kids are done, dig through and find out what I got. But I have not really spent much time doing that at this point in time. Magic is better to play than Pokemon. Magic to me is a lot more strategic than Pokemon. That's just my opinion. A lot more to it, a lot more expense. That's the problem, especially if you get into... So, for example, Pokemon League, and we were just talking about this the other day at our LGS. If I wanted to go and get a ultra competitive Pokemon League or a Pokemon set right now, if I wanted to build a deck and be ultra competitive right now and be right at the top of the game for Pokemon, I can do that for like $70. $70 for the worst case on a deck. If you want to talk about Magic and trying to have a competitive deck to where you could be actually playing tournaments and winning tournaments and being actually part of it, you're talking $1,400, man. So yeah, Magic is fun to play. If you're just in like a casual league where you can just buy a commander deck and go, fine. If I go and try and play at my local LGS, I will get absolutely decimated if I try and play Magic against some guys. My friend plays Magic. He's tried getting me into it. He sent me a basic deck to get me back into it, and I was and to be competitive, because I told him if I'm doing it, I want to be competitive. I mean, I want to be able to be at the top, top end of the league if I'm going to be in it. Yeah, $1,400. It was like $1,470 for the cards, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'll just stick with Pokemon. Thanks. I can go build a Charizard EX deck. I can go build a Dragapult deck right now for $78. It's like, and that's fully every card you need. If you don't have any of them, it's $78. And typically I have a lot of the cards that I'm just moving around. So it's a lot cheaper than that. I can build a deck realistically with what I've got laying around, typically for around $20 to $25. I built Jacob and my new decks here for $28 total. So it's really not bad for Pokemon. Magic is a whole nother story. And once again, it depends. If you got a casual league, doesn't matter. You know, you can win with a commander deck that you can buy off the shelf. Realistically, depending on the league you're in and the LGS that you're at, yeah, my LGS is just an absolute. They're a beast. A lot of them guys are competitive. A lot of them guys have been doing it for 10, 15 years, and they have mega decks built up that you just are not going to take them out unless you start spending money. So, hey, Pika Pika, iPhone, Pika Pika, hey, buddy, you working? I hope I didn't join at the end this time. You didn't do too bad this time, Pika Pika. You're close, but you're not quite at the end. So we get a little bit of discussion time here, which is great. But thank you for coming in, Pika Pika. iPhone now, you're not too late, my friend. Time to chill. What better crowd to chill with than in here? Perfect. Thank you so much. I might have missed. Yeah, we already did that one. Agreed. Might also just ship today. Celestial TCG, thank you so much for joining in. With how bad the Pokemon Center botched the release of Phantasmal Flames, it's crazy that people think that we are going to see major price corrections or changes on how the sets are going to. Yeah, and that's my point is we're not going to see any huge reprint changes. We're not going to see any major updates. We're not going to see any of this stuff if Pokemon continues to botch sets. If they can't get product out for new sets and they continue to be delayed on the releases of the newer sets, what makes you think that they're going to be able to keep up with doing major reprints of any of these sets? Unless they've completely moved their printing these older or newer sets to a completely different printing facility and they're just botching it this hard, they're not going to be in any place to be doing reprints at any point in time. Major reprints. I think we're going to continue to get these small ones. I think they print a major load and they go, okay, we got 3 weeks. Let's print a couple sets really, really quick. And then they ship them. Because if you notice, we seem to always get we seem to get new reprints approximately 2 weeks after the release of a set. 2 to 3 weeks after the release of a set, we'll get another batch of products. So basically, I'm guessing Phantasmal Flames released this week. I'm guessing by first week in December, we will probably see another release of some other product, whether it's Destin's Rivals, Journey Together ETBs are supposedly coming. You know, Destin's Rivals booster boxes, sleeve blisters. I heard Destin's Rivals sleeve blisters are coming as well. So we might be getting some of those available also. And if that's the case, that'll happen in about a week. We'll be seeing those about the first week in December. Right after Thanksgiving, we'll probably be seeing another grouping of product. Based on what I've seen, the path that we've seen with the Pokemon on release and supply and release of these sets right now. So my guess is be prepared. 2 weeks from now, we'll probably see a release of those particular products or another grouping of products here, probably first week in December right now. PPP, I only got the shipping notification a few hours ago. Yeah, so I might have gotten it. In fact, my phone just went off. Let me check and see, because I did see an email. I don't know if I can leave that without losing my camera. Not sure. I'm going to wait. We're going to figure that out. But yeah, I think that's the other part as well. It may come at any moment. So I'm not concerned. It hasn't been canceled at this point in time. So I know that there's still time at this point to be able to get that. Welcome on in, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Once again, greatly appreciate it for everybody that's in here. I need to get rid of this one. Yeah, I always like when you get these stupid comments on here. There we go. Get rid of that one. To do things like this, to put in these stupid comments. I need a mod over on TikTok. But anyways, thank you guys, everybody, for joining in. We're just coming to the end here as we're getting things going here. As we're coming to the end. Just trying to see here. GJ Pokecenter says, I've had success selling ETBs, UPC booster boxes. The little items been slow for Phantasmal. Yeah, and I think that sleeve blisters have been doing fairly well for me. I mean, we burned through them pretty quickly. I still got some, but we were also, on Sunday, we kind of shifted off of Phantasmal Flames and went towards, we were actually going more towards Random 5. So we were having some fun on YouTube where we basically had a wheel, and if you purchased into the Random 5, I have a bunch of check lane blisters. So basically we were spinning the wheel, Destin's Rivals, Obsidian Flames, Stellar Crown, Temporal Forces, Paradox Rift, Mega Evolutions, all of which were going, we were basically, what is this? Trying to verify me. But yeah, basically those were the things that we have right now. You buy a random 5, you'd spin the wheel, and we would spin the wheel 5 times, and you would get five random packs. It was actually a lot of fun. I think it was fun. A lot of guys seem like that. A lot of people in the live really enjoyed it. So definitely something we do on YouTube. We're going to have that again on Friday as well. And then Sunday, we're going to be doing claim sale as well. So we got claim sales on Sunday. We're doing the random 5 is now a new thing until I'm down on these check lane blisters, having some fun with that. We've added in OP, so I've been trying to increase the amount that I buy from distribution as well. Trying to up my level a little bit so I get more access to some of the other Pokemon products, or more Pokemon products. So we do have Lorcana. I got the new one, Whispers in the Well, is available. We have Gundam. I've got OP. I've got 10, 12, and 13 right now on the shelf. We do have some Magic. I've been getting a few Magic from my friend, or an LGS that I work with, or have been working with. He's been giving me some just to sample it, see how it goes. So then we got Dragon Ball Z too. So we got a whole little list of different TCGs. I've been increasing a lot of the other Magic. I can't buy myself. I have to get that from someone else. But all the other sets, I've been trying to buy some from LGS's, just from my distributor, just to try and up my numbers a little bit. Hopefully get a little bit more access to some Pokemon products here in the near future as this market kind of cools a little bit. I think it's going to increase a little bit. By the time they get to Wave 2 of Phantasmal Flames out, it's going to be right before the Christmas holiday. And by then, we are only a few months away from another release. That's what Mega 2. I mean, we just got the end of our Mega release a week before Phantasmal Flames hit. That's why I got my check lane blisters. I got my 3-pack blisters, and I basically got the rest of my stuff. One more booster box of Mega, so I got the 2. But yeah, they were delayed until a week before ME2 hit. So before Phantasmal Flames hit, it was literally a week beforehand. So yeah, definitely happening, and it's a pain in the butt. Since the specialty set was announced for the end of January, they are literally handicapping themselves. Is there a holiday set this year? No holiday set this year. Phantasmal Flames looks like it's the holiday set. We are getting a specialty set, a special set in January, end of January, as a Centennial. We don't have any new sets coming until the end of January, so we are going to get a little bit of a reprieve here. I just don't know how much. Ascended Heroes released the end of January, covers Mega Dream. So yeah, the Mega Dream is coming. That's going to be the next set coming up. So yeah, that's going to be the Gengar set. That's where they moved Gengar to. So yeah, anyways, a lot of things happening. A lot of interesting things happening in the market. My question is not we're going to get a reprieve in the Pokemon TCG. Are they going to hold these 5-pack limits all the way until the end of January? Last time they did it for a couple months, and then they backed off of it again. So it will be interesting to see. Hey, Charmanic, what's that? Hope we get a break. Yeah, I hope so. We're going to get a break in sets here, which is going to be good. Give us a chance to regroup here. Phantasmal Flames is going to be there. Is there another Japanese set after Mega Dream and before the end of January? I don't think so. I think Mega Dream is the one that's coming out, and I think that's going to be a direct... Did you see that Ascended Heroes will have the Jason? Yeah, that's pretty typical, because Ascended Heroes is going to be next year. But you got to remember, Centennial, that the rotation usually happens in March or April, so we won't have 4 in rotation very long, and it'll be out way before Worlds. So yeah, the J symbol's coming. Basically, what is it? Scarlet and Violet base set will rotate out this year, so we're going to lose Scarlet and Violet base set at this time. Yeah, it'll release in December, but my point is that it won't be in rotation for Worlds, and this does happen every year where we have some J symbols coming out right now. Right now is when the beginning of the year is really where we start seeing that rotation. Yeah, 1 through 5.4. Yeah, Paldean Fates is the last cutoff. So Temporal Forces on will still be playable, but everything, so like my Charizard deck will now be obsolete. I'll have to go rebuild. It'll be a Mega Charizard deck anyway, so that's going to all get rebuilt here at any point. Hey, Big Blue, how you doing? So yeah, there's going to be some changes, rotations happening. That'll happen in March or April. That's a typical time span for the set. So we're right on schedule, usually around the first of the year. So it's usually English. So because I do know that Ascended Heroes and Mega Dream is going to have, or Ascended Heroes is going to have the J. So that means in English that the next set coming up at the end of the year is going to have the J symbol. And that's pretty typical. That's the normal, so it's going to be right on par for what we normally would see. So it's normal rotation, guys. We're going to be losing all the way. The beginning of Scarlet and Violet's going out the door for playability. That means a lot of the singles are going to shift as well. A lot of the pricing is going to start shifting again as we go further and further into this next mega sets as we move forward as well. So. Let's see. Last question here, to be honest. TPCI needs to cut their losses on printing sets prior to Prismatic if they want any hopes of keeping up in any... I agree. I think they need to stop printing Prismatic. They need to let that set go and just walk away and start printing Journey Together. Well, even Journey Together, they've printed some. But focus on Black and White, Destin's Rivals, Mega, Phantasmal Flames, and the newer sets moving forward. Just call the other ones a wash, walk away from them, and move forward. Stop printing Prismatic. I'm tired of seeing Prismatic, but I don't get Prismatic, which is what drives me crazy. I actually tried to get some 6-pack bundles. Them went through distribution, but I didn't get any. My LGS did, but I did not. Any recommendations for starting to play the game? What kind of recommendations are you looking for? You want to actually build a deck, or do you want to just learn to play? Because the biggest one, Charmanic, that I would always suggest is do a pre-release first to get a feel for it. Pre-release is pretty good because at least you get an opportunity to jump in, feel for a deck. It's a smaller deck. It's a smaller play. Everybody's on an even playing field. But most of the time, if you go online, Limitless TCG, so I'll put it in the chat right now. That's where I usually go to. So if I go here, if you want to know which TCGs right now are the best or which ones are good to start with right now, I will give you this list right here. And I'll put that in the chat right now for you. So if you go here and you look at the tournaments, these are all the recent tournaments. So you can look through these and look at which decks are doing the best. So, for example, a lot of people may not have realized this, but the Mega Abyssal deck actually took the latest in Las Vegas here, which was a big change to see a Mega deck finally pull up ahead on the top. We've had them in the top 10, but we finally got one in the top. So that was kind of cool to see. Mega Abyssal deck right now is pretty popular. There's also the Enzoark deck has been moving up. Garnivore's dropped a little bit, and the Dragapult's kind of slipped a little bit this week. Take it with a grain of salt, because we've seen some really good competitors, even on English, like Milwaukee and that. I'm not seeing it. So Jackson Ford is always a really big one. He did the Charizard deck. You can see the crowns for the ones that have done really more normalized or more competitive. But I'm looking here, and Ford wasn't at this tournament. I don't see him in there at all, unless he got knocked out extremely early, which would be kind of odd for him, because he's usually a very competitive player, and I'm not even seeing him on the list. So I'm guessing that he didn't make it to Las Vegas. That's a factor as well for who shows up to these tournaments, for why certain decks may be up at the top. But once again, the one person that won is from Norway, came to Las Vegas and won it with an Abyssal Kangaskhan deck. So it's all about who you play, how things move, and how things roll. Let's see here. Even their fascination. Yeah. Agreed. I've been in it for the collecting and the art, so I don't know where to start playing. Yeah. I would suggest Charmanic, look on here, try and find the deck. You know, you can go on to the link I just put on here. It's great because you can actually go right onto it and actually purchase the decks too. So if you want to just go and purchase these, you can go right into the list function on there. And you can see down below, you can actually click on each one of these links, and it tells you exactly how much it would cost from TCG Player. And I'm trying to think, you hit, yeah. So you can actually just add it to cart, and literally it'll pull all of them, and you can buy the deck right on TCG Player. So just so you know, you can actually go through and actually just buy it. Check your bulk too, because a lot of these cards you might already have in your bulk if you open it all, and it'll just throw it right in there, and that way you're all set to ready to rock and roll. So you can just buy the deck straight off of TCG Player right now, just by hitting the button. Be careful though, because it will pull like the TCG member ones. Sometimes it's better to go through and pick them out yourself, because you can actually get them cheaper than if you just hit that button. Just for example. So like the Psyduck right now, it will pull the better ones. Because there's the Psyduck promo right now, because Damp is one that's been, I've seen it now, last weekend was played. Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents lose any ability that requires a Pokemon using it to knock itself out. So basically, that's a counter to the Dragapult deck, because the Dragapult deck has the Dusclops in it, or Dusclops line in it, where you could grenade people off your deck. So basically, the Psyduck is your dampener to nerf the Dusclops Dragapult deck. So just FYI. So that they're always making counters for how things play. I'm interested to see how liquidity is for the major sets going into the 4-day Black Friday madness. Especially stuff keeps getting listed to match purchase on TCG Player eBay. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to still do fairly well. I think there's enough people still purchasing in the Pokemon TCG right now. Especially with Phantasmal, since we won't have Wave 2 by then. No. That's going to be interesting. I think Phantasmal is going to drop a little bit, but I think it's going to go back up pretty quickly here. Just because it's going to... I think that Charizard deck, we're going to wait another week, but I got a feeling that Charizard EX deck is going to leave pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. I clicked the... and I see his deck cost him $56. Pretty cool. Yeah. That's the cool thing about it, is it tells you how much it costs for the Mega Abyssal deck. I sit there and I actually go through my bulk, go through my other cards first before I go and purchase anything. So if you are looking for it though, you can literally buy their deck. If you look at the Mega Abyssal up above where it says the price, there's that buy it on TCG Player symbol next to it. You click that, it'll literally pull all of them on a TCG Player into your cart. Once again, be careful, because it'll pull the TCG direct ones first, and that'll actually be a little bit more expensive sometimes. So it's sometimes better to go and pick it yourself. Celestial says the turn-through rate of Phantasmal on TCG Player eBay is going to be interesting to see, especially since it blew Mega Evolutions out of the water in terms of sales volume. Yeah. Charizard set, though, it's going to have a higher sales volume when it comes down to it, which, once again, not surprising at all. But, exactly, Charmanic. A lot of times, you don't realize how expensive, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes playing, you understand why is the Gold Earthen Vessel so expensive from Shrouded Fable. It's expensive because it's playable. When it goes out of rotation, will that set have value on that Gold Earthen Vessel? Probably not. People are not buying the Golden Earthen Vessel to collect. It's not a collectible card. I don't want a Golden Earthen Vessel. Do you want a Golden Earthen Vessel? Do you want a Golden Earthen Vessel? No. Nobody really cares. The reason it's expensive is because of the fact that it's playable. So as long as it's playable, that makes sense. When Shrouded Fable and that set goes out of rotation, it's probably not going to have as much value. Dusclops, Dusknoir, Duskull, another line that's inside of there. It's playable. It's part of the Dragapult deck. The second it goes out of rotation, will Shrouded Fable have value? The Persian is going to be the only card left in that set. Houndoom really are going to be the two cards in that set. And that's why I have been very bearish on Shrouded Fable, is because overall, I don't think the value is going to hold. I don't think the value is going to be there in 5 years on Shrouded Fable, because it's a playable set. There's a lot of playable cards, the Fezidente, the Golden Earthen Vessel, the Monkey Dory, the Dusclops, Duskull, Dusknor line, all of which are all playable out of the set. And that's why the cards are expensive, is because they're playable, but once they get to a certain point where they're out of rotation, why does someone need Shroud of Fable? Why does someone need a Golden Earthen Vessel? Nobody's collecting Golden Earthen Vessels. It's not like collectors are going, oh my god, I must have this. I must have my Golden Earthen Vessel for my collection. No, it's just not happening. It all just clicked, lol. So, and this is why when you hear me talk about things, sometimes, some people will argue with it, but it's basically because of the fact that I understand why certain sets and why certain cards have value. Why is the Latias EX a $4 card and not a $1 card like all the rest of the EXs? Why is the Fezidente EX a $7 card, not a $1 card? And compared to a lot of the EXs are 50 cents for it. That's why, and that's what we look at when you're sitting there looking at the overall cards and why things are more expensive than others. So, glad it makes sense. And it's a really good way to do it overall. Is if you learn the playability and why cards are playable and why certain cards may look expensive now, but in 3 months even, they may not be expensive, and that's why there's that variation a lot of times in those cards. So it kind of makes sense. If you learn the playability and learn how to play the sets, what cards you use for playing the Pokemon decks, it really makes sense on why, for the investment side of things, or why sets may have value now, or singles may be expensive now, but you go back and check them, all of a sudden the price just disappears on them. It's because they've lost their playability. Players aren't trying to find them, and thus the value starts to drop because collectors really don't care about them either. So there's just that short little window where they have some push behind them, but it doesn't last very long just because of the fact that it's a playable card rather than an actual thing. Is there an app I can play on to go practice? Yes, Pokemon TCGO. So if you go on to, that's the code card. So if you get these code cards here, these Pokemon TCGO code cards, that's how you go play. So you can go on to there, you could build your decks. So if you want to test one of these decks and go test it out on how to play it, Pokemon TCGO is a really good way to learn, because they actually have a learning or a tutorial on there as well that'll explain to you how to play and how to start. It's a great way to do it. If you haven't played the Pokemon TCGO and you're interested in playing the Pokemon TCG, definitely a great way to kick it off and get a feel for it when it comes down to actual playability. So, and let me know in the chats or in the comments afterwards. Would you like me to do like a tutorial, like break down my deck and go through it? I'm fine with that. I have a Dragapult deck right now. I'm building a Charizard EX deck. So that's like on the live the other night. I asked if I could buy this from a guy because I was going to have to buy it online. And he gave it to me because he wasn't too interested in it. And because it's just a regular Oricorio EX. But the reason I need it is because there's a card called Blowtorch where I can pull 6 cards out of my deck and put them into my hand. But now I've got 6 cards in my hand. I can only put 1 energy per turn on my Pokemon. This card becomes a playing factor for that to load up my Charizard EX because it's Excited Turbo ability. And it says, as often as you like during your turn, if you have any Fire Mega Evolution Pokemon EXs in play, you may use this ability to attach a basic energy card from your hand to one of your benched Pokemon. So basically, I can put a Mega EX in play, and I can load my bench with all many times I want during my hand. I can go and load my card or my bench with my energies I need out of my hand. So I can use the trainer card, pull the energies I need, use the Oricorio with the ability to load that. So the Oricorio is probably going to become probably another $4 or $5 card in near future, just because of the fact the Charizard deck is going to probably come into play again with the Mega Charizard deck. That card's going to be necessary in order to load those Charizards up and give you the playability to get that ready to go. So, like I said, when I build a deck, I can maybe do a tutorial. If everybody's interested in it, let me know in the comments. I have no problem going over my deck. I enjoy doing that. I like explaining it to my son too, so it's just fun to do that for me because it just shows why cards have value and why some cards get more value than others at the end of the day. So, all right, guys, we are way past time. I try to keep it an hour, but I'm way over an hour. Yes, would love that. Cool. So maybe we can do that. We can do a little live or a video on that as well. But, all right, guys, we're going to call it quits for a Tuesday night here. Greatly appreciated everybody who joined in tonight. Greatly appreciated on TikTok as well. See a lot of people got some hearts on there. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that like button before you leave here as well. Greatly appreciated everybody that's come and hung out tonight. Hopefully you guys have had a fantastic week so far, and hopefully you continue to have a great week here moving forward. And once again, just a reminder, we will be live on Friday. We have the random 5 on the Northwoods TCG page, where basically you are getting 5 random sleeve blisters that are available to come and join and do the rip and ship on those. A little bit of fun, a little bit of twist on the thing. Plus, there's a chance at a free Sword and Shield pack on that wheel as well. Also, if you join the channel membership on YouTube, we do have the Guess the Energy game, where if you guess the energy of one of your packs on your first order once per night, you can do that. You also get a spin the wheel for a Sword and Shield pack as well. So we're having some fun, giving away some Sword and Shield packs to individuals out there. Once again, it's a way to have some fun with us here in the Northwoods TCG community. Also, join the Discord. We are also talking about what's going on, what's happening with drops, and what's happening in the Pokemon TCG on there as well. Other than that, thank you everybody for joining in. Have a safe and wonderful week, and we hope to see you on Friday, 9 p.m. Central Time, once again here on Northwoods TCG.